Welcome to Press and Play. This is Heather. Thank you for joining me. Today we are going to do a dragon set. My son requested that I make a dragon set. He thought that would just be the coolest thing ever, and I kind of agree with him, so I decided to do that. I'm using a lot of new techniques today, for me, new, and trying things out, just trying to get the right textures and stuff. So we'll just get right into it. Also, anything I'm using, I'm kind of using the same stuff, same products. So I figure if anyone is curious about what I'm using, just go ahead and ask me in the comments and I will put a link in, but it seems silly to keep putting the same exact products in the description box. I don't know if you like that. If you do, let me know and I'll continue doing it, but I'm not sure if it really matters. So just to let you know, I did prime with a with the Nail Couture eNail Couture primer on all the nails before I started. I just kind of skipped it since I do it in every video and there's a lot of art in this. So I'm just creating an eye shape, like elongated eye for a dragon. And what I'm going to do is create this in layers. I'm going to use a builder gel in between each of the layers so that you get some depth when you look at it. I'm not quite sure that the camera fully picks up the end result as far as like how much depth is in the eye, but you can for sure see it in person. And then I'm just going to create the iris. I think this is the iris. It's the center part's the iris, right? I don't know. But yeah, I'm just creating like the background color of it because like I said, I'm working in layers. So, and since, I mean, I've drawn a lot of eyes, but they're not dragon eyes. So I was kind of playing off of just, you know, what I've done with a normal human eye and just tweaked it a bit and changed a little bit of like how I would color a normal eye because I can, because it's imaginary and I'll do what I want. So this is the first layer of color and I'm just kind of creating that underneath those kind of star-like, the inside when you look at an eye. I don't know what those are called. I should probably look that up before doing voiceover so I can know what I'm talking about. But you know what I'm saying, right? We've all looked at eyeballs. We know what I mean, and you can see what I'm doing here. So, yeah. And I just took a little bit of that blue that I was using before and mixed it with a white. And the blue is a Beatles color that I got from a big set that I got in one of my hauls, and the white that I'm mixing is the Macarte Blanc. And here's my new builder gel, which so far so good. Like, I'm really enjoying it, and I'm really hoping that because it's in this little jar that I won't have the same issue of it turning into a solid lump of builder gel, which makes no sense. The lid was tight, the jar was in a drawer in the dark. I don't even understand how it did that, but it did, so I won't be buying that one again. So fingers crossed this one works. I've seen a lot of people use this with good success, so I'm really hoping that it works. And if it doesn't, then I'll know for sure that it's me doing something wrong and not the product. Here I took that blue again, but I mixed it with a little bit of the Noir, also the Macarte. It's the one that comes in this set, the black and white set from Macarte. I've been using it for everything. Black and white works well. You do have to be careful with the black for it not to like wrinkle. But if you do thin enough layers, if you're using it on a full nail, you're fine. And I'm doing a lot of curing in between because or a lot of flash curing. In between the builder gel layers, I am actually doing a full cure on those. I'm sticking them in the lamp and doing like a full 60 seconds just because there's going to be so many layers. I didn't want anything to crinkle or bubble or do any weird stuff. So I wanted that eye super, super clear. And I'm just building it up into kind of like an almond shape with the highest point in the middle, using a little gravity to help. So easy to work with, honestly. Like, if you were on the fence about playing with some builder gel, just get yourself some, because it's really fun and really easy. There's not a huge learning curve, honestly. It's just get in there. You'll see as soon as you start playing with it how it works. Pretty easy medium to work in. And here I'm just using straight black just to create that pupil. Same thing, just building up. Getting a little bit more height towards the center so it really pops out. And one more layer. I'm going to add a little shine. Sorry, it's blurry. I actually did a way better job this time. I think if I keep everything clear and just have one sticker down, I seem to do better. It's not perfect, but we're definitely on the road to like more clarity in my videos. So yay me. And here I'm just adding the last layer of builder gel and just really making sure that shape is exactly the way I want it, which is pretty easy because I've pretty much worked my way there the entire time, but now I'm being really picky about where everything lands. Yeah, it's really nice to work with. It's very easy to correct if you go over like a little out of balance in one end. You can use gravity. And there she is. Eyeball done. Pretty happy with the way that turned out. Now I am adding in a color that I got from Shein in one of my hauls. It's such a pretty color. It looks so much darker. I mean, it's a dark red, don't get me wrong, but like there's a lot more glow to it than what my camera picks up, or my phone, I should say, picks up. But it is a really pretty color. And I thought, you know, a red dragon, that's just like all the feels right now. It's exactly the mood I was in, so I decided to go that way. Plus, I had this gorgeous cat eye that matches this, also from the same company. It's the one that's like the Z, or no, it's X something, I don't know. But it's the one that has the pretty Art Deco bottles and then like some of the really pointy bottles. Yes, that's a great description. You'll now know exactly what I'm talking about, and you're welcome. But I think if you shop on Shein, you probably do know. And like I said, if you're curious, just shoot me a comment. I'm happy to link what I used if you want any information. And actually, if enough people comment, I'll go back into the description and put everything in that I used if there's a want for it. Here I'm using the cat eye, and this is going to be part of the eyelid. It did take me a few tries. I actually had to like wipe it down. If you notice, it's kind of dull. Just trying it. I'm just not good at cat eye, at least yet. I'm starting to get the hang of it. I'm starting to figure out how exactly like the best way to make it work, but it's still like a learning process, and I'm just wondering if maybe I need a stronger magnet. Or I was watching someone else talk about the same thing, about like feeling like they just were like horrible at it until they got a better magnet, and then they're like, I'm a magnet genius. So I think I don't, but I haven't seen anything. Like, if you have any suggestions on where to get like a really strong magnet, I would love for you to tell me, because I haven't seen one. And whenever I put in like the magnets for the cat eyes, it's the same stuff. And maybe I should just stop saying cat eye and just go in and be like magnet, but I don't want to end up with like some huge magnet either. Like, I want one that works well for doing this. So yeah, if you have any suggestions, please let me know. But basically, I'm just kind of creating what will be the backdrop to the eyelid, and like the wrinkles kind of around the eyelid, with the cat eye, so that when I build up, I'm going to use a 3D liner, a clear 3D liner. I will have that cat eye underneath it, creating like a cool effect underneath it, if that makes sense. This is just the Macart 3D gel that I use pretty much every time. I'm a believer, if it's not broken, why fix it? So I will probably keep using it. I will need more of my 3D actual, like the sculpting gel that I've been using. I have gone through almost the entire thing of it. It's not very big to begin with, but I've been doing a lot of 3D work with that. So I need more. And I'm thinking I might just buy like a bunch of them, because they're so tiny. And I didn't see an option to get a bigger size from that company. I'm gonna look though, hit the interwebs and see if I can figure out if that company actually makes a bigger size. Here I'm just building up the actual lid, and I do it in a few different tries. I'm building, and then I'm flash curing, and then I'm building on top of that, and I'm just getting it till I'm happy with the height on that lid, because I do want it to stick out. I want like there to be like actual separation there of the lid. There you can see I've got like, I did manage to get that like kind of wall built up. Just doing the bottom lid, or the top, I don't know. It looks like that would be the bottom lid, I think. To be determined. I think this is my favorite nail of the set. But I do like the other nails too, but this one, just because the eye is so fun, and like when it gets its top coat, it's so dynamic. And the pictures do not do it justice. They do not look nearly as dimensional as this eyeball looks like in real life. But I'm very happy with it. And I'm just building kind of those like wrinkles that I imagine in my dragon eye. I saw some cute pictures when I was referencing dragon eyes, and they had like really interesting like scales and like almost like teeth looking scales around the eye, and I thought that was really neat, but I just don't have the skills yet to be able to get that detailed. But that is definitely something I'm working towards, is to get more and more detail into my work. And here I'm just using the Noir and trying to keep this coat super thin, like as thin as possible. Oh, there's the eyeball again. Hello. And like I said, I do 2 coats. And this will be the backdrop to this is the thumb, so this will be the wing that I'm going to create. And same thing, just keeping it as thin as possible, just so I don't get wrinkling, and especially since I'm going to be pushing on the nail quite a bit and messing with it. Here's a matte top coat from Model 1s. It's an okay one. I just don't feel like it really gets fully matte. It almost looks like it's matte, but it still has like a dull shine, if that makes sense. It's not like, it doesn't look buffed. I don't know if there's any that actually like gets fully matte, like chalkboard matte, but this one does not do that. I actually ended up doing it twice because there was still a little bit of shine on it. But see, you can kind of see it's got like almost satiny as opposed to like just matte. So stuff kind of still sticks to it. That's probably next on the list, is to search out a good matte. Maybe I'll try one from Goy because I've had such good luck with their products. I really like them. I also got a builder gel from Goy, but like one that's like in the bottle, and that's what I have on my nails right now, and I really like it. So I don't think I've found anything from them that I have not enjoyed. So like I would say Beetles has been hit and miss, Model 1s has been hit and miss, McCart has been hit and miss. So, you know, to have one company that I've bought from that I've actually bought back stock on, like for my top coat and base coat, because I like it so much. That's kind of saying something, and they're not crazy expensive. They're on the cheaper side, so it's really nice if you're still just like learning, which I am, to have something like that. I really like their jellies too. They're so pretty. So here I've just taken my 3D modeling gel, and I am creating, I basically kind of flattened it out almost triangle-ish, and then stuck it on the nail, and now I'm creating the wings. I am kind of making like channels in it with my round part of my tool and pushing it in so you get that curve, almost like a bat wing at the edge. And then I'm getting that basic shape in, and then refining from there. I'm adding more of a angle to it, like giving it a hard fold almost in the very lowest part of that channel, if that makes sense. But I do want it to have that roundness towards the edge of the wing. This is another place I would have liked to have gotten more detailed, add veins in and things, but I think I'm going to have to do things like that with either adding the liner gel in afterwards to do that, because the modeling gel bounces back, so it's very difficult to get very, very fine details into it. It's just more like get your basic shape in, and then if you want to add more, at least from my skill level, I'm sure there's people that can do a ton more detail with it, but this is just my observation at this point in my journey, is that it bounces back. So it's very difficult to get like super detailed. You get your general shape in, you get your general like smoothness and feel in, and then go in with a clear liner gel to create more texture. Or I could have probably gone in and done some veining, but I think at this point I was like, I think it'll get lost in the sauce. So I decided to keep it a little bit more simple. But I'm just refining the shape once I get like my basic idea in there, going in with my tools and creating more of a point at the bottom of the channel, and making sure that I'm not losing that roundness at the edge of my wing. Give it a flash. I actually did cure that fully. I started to flash it and I was like, no. And here is where I'm adding a little detail with my liner gel at the very top part of the fold of the wing, or like where maybe the bone would be, I'm thinking I added a little bit more of like a hard peak to that so that it would stand out and give it a little bit more detail, a little bit more texture, but just building a little height on that, keeping it a pretty thin line so you could see it on that other one that I'm not working on, keeping the line thin but building up the height on that, just to add that so it just doesn't look like, you know, kind of a blob. I'm flashing those so I don't hit them because I probably will. I do really like this liner gel. It's pretty easy to work with as well. I use it for a ton of things, and this, even though it's a small jar, this will last forever, assuming I don't do something stupid with it, like leave the lid off or, you know, give that all a good little flash. And then I think I did actually cure that as well, just to make sure. And here I'm using that same jelly red that I used in the background of the eyeball. Just painted that on, getting into all the nooks and crannies. Takes a little bit longer to do it with the liner brush, but I kind of feel like I get a better payoff than doing it with the flat brush. I tend to use my flat brush or oval brush with this just to like take paint off, to make sure that like the details don't get lost. But to actually apply it, I find that the liner brush gives me a more even like coat basically, and then I can adjust from there. And it also lets me get into like all the points and all the nooks and crannies. I actually did use a little bit of my flat brush to go in between, and I cut it out, it seems, but just to make sure that it was a clear, like it didn't flood out the bottom of that channel. So I decided to do a line of the cat eye, the same cat eye gel, just right on that ridge. And here I feel like I've got a little bit better idea of like how to get that to show. A little bit more success coming in with that magnet. It's all learning curve. You just keep playing and playing, and then you have an aha moment, and you can move on. But it's still not perfect, for sure. Still lots of room to grow in the magnet area. And there, I did give the entire thing a full cure after I finished the last one. And here I'm using like a metallic chrome. This is from Statico. And it's just a set that I had before I even started doing videos. I do almost regret using this because it was so opaque. I like the end result, I do, but I kind of feel like it took over. Like you couldn't see anything underneath it. It was just too solid. But that's just, you know, I mean, it did give a cool result. It does look like shiny reds. I don't know, maybe dragon skin, maybe. But I put it on, I gave it a good rub, and then I cleaned up. But what I also did was I took a little bit of alcohol on that brush and then ran it over the top where I had put that cat eye, because you could not see the cat eye at all. So I decided to kind of try to clean it up a little bit, allow some of that to pop through. You can see it a little bit more when you get the top coat on. But this is one of those things I have an idea, I have it drawn out, but I'm still figuring it all out as I go. So much of what I'm doing when I'm editing and doing the voiceover is going, I should have, because I knew at that point I had kind of gone too far with the red, I think. I don't know. You let me know if you like the red on it. It does pop, so there is that. And this I'm adding the top coat right away because I don't want things moving around. And I'm using the flat brush, and I've put the top coat on my palette because I don't want to get any of that chrome inside my actual polish bottle. I don't want to contaminate it with all the chromey bits. So that's why you see me using a flat brush here to put the top coat on. So how's everyone's summer going? It's cooled off here, and I'm very, very, very happy about that. It's still warm, but it's like that nice Seattle warm that people move here for. They come here during the summer and they're like, it's glorious. And they don't realize we've earned it because our winters are gray. So like having the sun out now is amazing and wonderful when you're not cooking to death. And we are in that like sweet spot right now. I've added I've done 2 coats of that red, and here I'm doing lines of cat eye. And this is one of those moments where I don't know why I did it going this direction, because this is going to be underneath scales. So logically, they should be going the other way. But I was in a zone and I had a thought, and because this was definitely something I was like, hey, I'll do this in the moment. And the thought did not fully cook, because I would have realized that if I'm doing scales, that they should go in the other direction. So if you decide to recreate the set, I highly suggest doing this going the other way. But basically I'm just doing stripes. I'm using the magnet. I'm flash curing, and then rinse and repeat basically all the way to the end. It's still a cool effect. And it, like, if I were doing that as like the dragon, like, I don't know, like claw, cool. That would be great. But since I'm trying to do a scale texture for this entire thing, I went the wrong way. So just ignore that. Just pretend I went the right way. I'm pretending. I'm really not. I'm just going to criticize myself and look at that nail. That's the nail that's going to bother me for the entire time. But it's okay. It's still cool. So here I am taking the that same 3D molding gel, and I'm going to lay it across the entire nail. I'm going to shape it and flatten it and smooth it out so that it has like a nail shape, basically. I'm going to create that all over again, but with the molding gel. I do think the effect would have been better had I done the stripes going the other way. Like, it doesn't quite do it right because it's not right. If I had done the scales going, I should have just like gone with it and put the scales going the long way. But I did not, because I didn't realize that I was wrong yet. So should have, would have, could have. And here I'm playing around trying to figure out what's going to create that texture, that scale texture. And that wasn't enough for that. I did have a little tool that I got in the set that has like the little spatula, and it has this little teeny spoon, so I decided to use that for, and it wasn't quite like a deep enough or a, I don't know, like a small enough. It worked. It wasn't as pronounced as I was kind of hoping, but it did work. I mean, I'm not unhappy with the texture. I think you would have been able to see a lot more of it if the stripes were going the right way. But this definitely was fine. It got the job done. It did create the scales that I was after, so I will perfect that. It's a little messy on this try too. I know I can do it better. But it did create the texture, and that's really what I was after, just creating the scale texture. And there she is, in all her glory. They're wrong-facing stripes. So here I'm doing 2 coats of the Noir again. And this will be the background. See, I'm almost out. I need more. I need more. And here I'm going to create a tail. And it's going to wrap around the nail. And I'm just kind of getting it ready, getting the little sausage ready. I'm very excited. Today we are going to, there's like kind of a month-long thing going on in Seattle. It's the Seafair, and today, or this weekend I should say, is the Seafood Fest happening in Seattle, and I am really excited. We're gonna go. It's like got all these vendors, and it's got crafts and all sorts of fun things, and seafood obviously, which yes please. I'm very much looking forward to it, and glad that it's not last weekend when it was so hot. But I'm still bringing my big old sun hat. I will carry my own shade with me. Here I am making the tail. I'm just kind of creating the shape, flattening it out, and now I am using the little orange wood stick because I'm not making it like a perfect texture, but I do want some scale texture kind of in there. More of a suggestion than like it being absolutely perfect. But yes, I am looking forward to having some seafood. They've got like a little beer garden, and Seattle's been doing good with their non-alcoholic beers, so I'm planning on having a seat somewhere in the shade and having a nice NA beer. It would be a perfect Saturday. So with the bottom part of the tail, I'm actually creating like a little triangle at the very, very bottom. My nail popped off and I had to like put more sticky stuff on it to get it to stick. It happened on a few nails actually. They all like seem to give up around the same time, and I don't know until I'm knee deep in whatever design I'm doing, so that's fun. But yeah, I'm creating a little like spike or kind of triangle bit at that bottom, and the rest of the tail kind of tapers down into its thinnest part right into that triangle, and then I'm adding a little texture, same thing, and I don't add the texture to the triangle. I keep that nice and smooth. And here I am adding that same red. But what I do here is I get it on nice and thick initially, just so it falls into like all the texture and all the crevasses. And then afterwards, after I get everything on, I take a flat brush and I brush it off basically, so that it's like the darkest inside the little textured bits, but it's not flooding. and it gives a little bit more translucence to the entire sculpture by not having, I mean, it is a translucent color, so you still get a glow through it, but I wanted a bit more, especially after seeing how the wing turned out. I kind of wanted it to glow a little bit more. And you can see I'm just kind of rubbing, almost taking it off, and I'm wiping off on the side. Here is one of my like little chrome sets I got, and I used the blue one to create that. Just rubbed it on with my finger, and then I thought, hey, I'm going to also do that with the wing, just to kind of give them some sort of continuity. Just give them a teensy tiny bit. I didn't want to overdo it. I didn't want it to, you know, take over, but just a little. Pinky time. 2 coats of this red, same as the other ones. And then I am taking the cat eye gel and I'm dotting it on, and individually dotting. I'm pretty much doing like a row at a time, giving it a flash, and then doing more dots. And I definitely figure out some easier ways as I go. And since there's so many rows, I have so much time to practice that, which is nice. And I found remember, I don't know if you watched my unboxing, the latest Amazon, but I got these little dotting tools. They were so perfect for these individual dots. And unfortunately, a lot of this was blurry, so I cut it out. But if you use this, you can get the little dots individually. And that was kind of awesome. This tool is a winner. So you can see I can just get those little individual bubbles to have their own shine. If I want to change the direction, if I want to have them all the same, I can just dot through. And then on top of those dots, I added some of the 3D gel just to add some more texture. And this ends up being my like dragon egg, kind of getting like the little bumps on it. That's what it looks like to me, is a dragon egg. So that's what it is, because that's what I said. So yeah, and I'm just basically playing with it at this point, just trying to figure out what the height is I want. But then I'm doing individual little dots on top of each of the dots I made, and flashing them as I go. And I don't make you watch the whole thing of me dotting every single one, because there's a lot. So, but you kind of will get the idea from what I do leave in. It does create quite a cool texture. I like the way the nail feels at the end, especially with the top coat, so it kind of fills a little bit. It just more kind of connects everything, but you still get the raised bumps. But it feels really nice. And then now we're gonna top coat. I have already top coated the wing. So, and here I'm doing very, very thin layers, so I'm not losing all that texture I put in. I'm being really careful to like put it on and then brush it off almost as I go. And I wipe back into the bottle, so I'm getting rid of everything that is not needed. That dry eyeball has some moisture again. Yay! It is definitely my favorite. No doubt. Yeah, I like it. And there I'm also doing the same thing I did on the wing, because it's got the chrome on it. I am adding the top coat with a brush from my palette, so I'm not going to ruin my top coat, because top coat is life, so we are not going to ruin it. And I am making sure to get in between so I don't flood out the in between the sculpture, basically. And here, our dragon egg. Same thing, just adding that top coat, getting it all on there, and then making sure it's not flooded. And that is the finished set. I really like this set, and it's definitely not anything I've made before. It doesn't have any of the same feels as any other set. And since my son wanted me to make it, I'm really glad he pushed me to do it. Really, really happy with it. Thank you so much for coming with me on this journey. I really do appreciate all the views, the comments, any likes. I do appreciate any support you give me, honestly, because it's something I love doing, and seeing that other people love it makes me really happy, and it pushes me to keep going. So I just want you to know I appreciate that. And you needed to see this in the sunlight, because that cat eye is cat eyeing. I hope you join me again on the next adventure, and I hope you have an amazing day or night. See you next time.